And there was. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari. Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari. Yashoda Nandana Braj Janaranjana. Yashoda Nandana Braj Janaranjana. Jamuna Tira Chari. Jamuna Tira Chari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari. Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari. Yashoda Nandana Braj Janaranjana. Yashoda Nandana Braj Janaranjana. Yashoda Nandana Braj Janaranjana. Yashoda Nandana Braj Janaranjana. Kamunati Ramanachari. Jamuna Tira Manachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paravrajikacharya Stotra Satis Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. BBT Founder Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Brahmsikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Radha Govinda Devi Ki Jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi Ki Jai. Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Brahmadanga Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai. Jai Nitai Gauda Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Vishnu Krishna. Hare Krishna. So thank you very much for being here, being present for Chaitanya Charitamrita class. I don't know, what is it, like probably 8 million people in New York City, something like that. And these are the people who can get out of bed and come for Chaitanya Charitamrita class. Of course, there are those online as well, but just goes to show we've got a lot of work to do for people to become inspired. So, let's see, we are reading this morning from the Adi Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 4, text 197 through 201, and entitled this talk, Selfless Surrender. Before I begin, I would like to seek blessings from all the assembled Vaishnavas that you see fit to bestow your mercy upon me so that I can speak something relevant and bona fide. Only by the mercy of Vaishnavas is anything possible, so I am seeking your blessings. Krishna Kripa Prabhu, especially Rogaya Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you. So we'll begin with the invocation. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we are reading a number of verses from 197 to 201. So I will start just reading the English for the first few verses as there are no purports, and then we can repeat responsively, verses 200 and 201. There is another natural symptom of the gopis' love that shows it to be without a trace of lust. The love of the gopis nourishes the sweetness of Lord Krishna, and that sweetness, in turn, increases their love, for they are greatly satisfied. The happiness of the abode of love is in the happiness of the object of that love. This is not a relationship of desire for personal gratification. The happiness of the abode of love is in the happiness of the object of that love. This is not a relationship of desire for personal gratification. And then today's verses. Nirupari prema ya, please repeat. Nirupari prema yaha tanha eriti. Priti vishaye sukhe ashrayera priti. Nija premanande Krishna sevananda bhare. Sayandera prati bhaktera ahoya mahe krode. Nirupade prema yanha tanha eriti. Priti vishaya sukhe ashrayera priti. Nija premananda Krishna sevananda bhade. Sayandera prati bhaktera hoya maha krode. Someone else would like to try? Yanha dhana riti. Hoya maha krode. Yanha tanha eriti. Yanha tanha eriti. Anandera prati bhaktera hoya maha krode. Ladies, please. Hare prema yanha tanha eriti. Nivishaya sukhe ashrayara priti. Nija premanande Krishna sevananda bhade. Sayananda prata bhakti hoya maha krode. Anha eviti. Iti vishaya sukhe ashaya piti. Ija premanande Krishna sevananda bade. Ananda bade. Word for word translation. Nirupadi, without identification. Prema, love. Yanha, which. Tanha, that. This. Riti, style. Priti vishaya, of the object of love. Sukhe, in the happiness. Ashrayera, of the abode of that love. Priti, the pleasure. Nija, one's own. Prema, of love. Anande, by the joy. Krishna, to Lord Krishna. Sevananda, the joy of service. Bade is obstructed. Say that. Anandera prati, toward the joy. Bhaktera, of the devotee. Haya is. Mahakrode, great anger. Mahakrode. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Whenever there is unselfish love, that is its style. The reservoir of love derives pleasure when the lovable object is pleased. When the pleasure of love interferes with the service of Lord Krishna, the devotee becomes angry towards such ecstasy. Purport. As mentioned above, the gopis are the predominated lovers, and Sri Krishna is the predominator, the beloved. The love of the predominated nourishes the love of the predominator. The gopis had no desire for selfish enjoyment. Their feeling of happiness was indirect, for it was dependent on the pleasure of Krishna. Causeless love of Godhead is always so. Such pure love is possible only when the predominated is made happy by the happiness of the predominator. Such unadulterated love is exemplified when the lover deprecates her happiness in service that hinders her from discharging it. Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Gyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitangena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Gena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupa Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. So, for me, these verses really exemplify and help us to understand the principle of selfless surrender. And in some quarters, the word surrender is a bad word. As soon as someone says, "You have to surrender, Prabhu. You have to surrender, mother," it kind of comes across like, oh no, I have to go under the thumb again. I have to bow down. I have to give up so much. I have to give in to so much. I have to let go. And of course, Burijan Prabhu explains how this word surrender, in Sanskrit, there are many different ways of understanding. In English, generally, if you hear the term surrender, it means you have to give up. You lose, right? So surrender means I give in to the other side and the other side wins, and that seems to automatically mean that I'm a loser. And who wants to be a loser? No one wants to be a loser, really. So we all want to be winners. We all want to be a winner, you know? So no one wants to lose. So this idea of surrender, sometimes, although we hear it repeatedly over and over again, but it may be deeply entrenched in our own psyche, that surrender actually means somehow I lose. I lose out. Going up. I love it. Yeah, surrender means not giving up. It means going up. Okay, so this section specifically is dealing with the taste of the happiness of her love. So this is these verses are describing the third internal reason for Lord Chaitanya, or for Lord Krishna rather, to come as Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So, we'll read through these verses. And it starts with, this is a conclusion to this chapter where it describes all three of them together. Desiring to understand the glory of Radharani's love, the wonderful qualities in him that she alone relishes through her love, and the happiness she feels when she realizes the sweetness of his love. The Supreme Lord Hari, richly endowed with her emotions, appeared from the womb of Srimati Sachi Devi as the moon appeared from the ocean. So, this is the internal reasons or the confidential reasons for Lord Chaitanya's appearance, that he's desiring to understand the glory of the love that Srimati Radharani has for him. And specifically and particularly, he wants to understand what it feels like to relish his own qualities, because he is Krishna, he's the all-attractive. So he wants to understand, Radharani has so much love for me. I want to understand that love, but I also want to know what it's like to experience my own amazing qualities, to be attracted by myself, the all-attractive. And then I would like to know the happiness that she is feeling when she realizes the sweetness of my love. So these are really, really potent and powerful, very esoteric points also, and not openly discussed in all quarters. But here we have Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explaining them, and also Srila Prabhupada so kindly giving them to us in the pages of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we go back a little bit to this specific section, and the conclusion of rasa is extremely deep. Only Swarup Damodar knows much about it. Anyone else who claims to know it must have heard it from him, for he was the most intimate companion of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we know that it's because of the diaries of Swarup Damodar Goswami, his close association with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that we have any access to Lord Chaitanya. In fact, we were reading at Matchless Gifts at the Prabhupada Meditations, we're reading from Burijan Prabhu's book about Srila Prabhupada, and he was talking about how he went to, where was that place in North Carolina? He went to very beginning. Do you remember the name of it? Anyway, in the beginning he went to a place in North Carolina and helped to start the programs there, and he celebrated Gaur Purnim, and they read from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Prabhupada sent his own manuscript had Brahmananda send it from New York to North Carolina so they could read from it there, and then he had to make sure, Prabhupada said specifically in the letter, make sure you return it afterwards. So, people were accessing Lord Chaitanya's pastimes through the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, and one young lady said, how do we actually even know anything about Lord Chaitanya? And so we know that there are so many different books and biographies about Lord Chaitanya. So for us, especially Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was dependent on the association that Swarup Damodar had with Lord Chaitanya. The beauty of Lord Krishna increases at the sight of the beauty of the gopis. And the more the gopis see Lord Krishna's beauty, the more that their beauty increases. So we have the beginnings of that understanding of this reciprocal relationship between Krishna and the gopis, between the beloved and the lover. So like this, we see that the more that Krishna's beauty increases when he sees the beauty of the gopis, and then that causes their beauty to increase more, so therefore then his beauty increases more. So like that, it's an ongoing thing. And in this way, a competition takes place between them in which no one acknowledges defeat. So no one accepts that we're the loser. Everyone's going to be a winner in this situation. Krishna, however, derives pleasure from the beauty and good qualities of the gopis. And when the gopis see his pleasure, the joy of the gopis increases. So he gets pleasure from their beauty and their good qualities. And when they see his pleasure, again, their joy goes on increasing as well as their beauty. Therefore, we find that the joy of the gopis nourishes the joy of Lord Krishna. For that reason, the fault of lust is not present in their love. So there is no lust in this loving relationship because they are simply there to please Krishna. They're not there for their own happiness. But because of serving Krishna, as we hear, when you water the root of the tree, all the branches are nourished. So in the same way, when we serve Krishna, then we naturally become happy. Susukam kartam avyayam, that devotional service is meant to be joyfully performed. Susukam. And so when Krishna sees that the gopis are happy in their service, he becomes more happy, and then they become more happy, and it just goes on like this. And in that way, there's no idea of lust, because everyone is simply there for the pleasure of the other person. As we've described before, lust, although it has the connotation of a relationship between, two persons for enjoying each other's bodies, but actually lust is the strong desire to control or exploit something or someone for one's own personal gratification, one's own personal sense gratification. So this is the definition of lust, and therefore this lust is not present in their relationship. And then the verses that we had today, there's another natural symptom of the gopis' love that shows it to be without a trace of lust. The love of the gopis nourishes the sweetness of Lord Krishna. So we have the beauty of Lord Krishna is being embellished, the joy of Krishna is being embellished, and now his sweetness, Madhuram, his sweetness of Lord Krishna. And that sweetness in turn increases their love, for they are greatly satisfied. The happiness of the abode of love is in the happiness of the object of that love. So these verses are, sometimes it's like, okay, a lot of love going on here and everyone's really happy. What's happening? So the happiness of the abode of love. What is the abode of love? In this situation, I think the abode of love is actually Krishna. He's the abode of love and is in the happiness of the object of that love. Is it? You think it's the other way around? Yeah? Okay. So the happiness of the abode of love is in the happiness of the object of that love.
Actually, it's both of them.
It is.
They both have love, and they both have, like, Radha's object of Krishna's love and Krishna's object of Radha's love.
Yes. This is not a relationship of desire for personal gratification. The abode of love is in the happiness of the object of that love. Whenever there is unselfish love, that is its style. When I read that, I was kind of like, it's style. Okay, that is the style. What is the style? The style means that's the way it goes. That's just the way it is. It's not necessarily the fashion, but that is just the way that it is, the way that it's warm. When there's unselfish love, that is its style. That is the style of this relationship between the lover and the beloved. The reservoir of love derives pleasure when the lovable object is pleased. When the pleasure of love interferes with the service of Lord Krishna, the devotee becomes angry towards such ecstasy. So this is a big topic that whoever's giving class the next couple of weeks, tomorrow and therefore thereon, will get the opportunity to speak about. So I won't get too into that. But what does that mean? It means that if actually I am in the process of trying to serve Krishna, if I'm experiencing so much happiness and joy and bliss that that's causing me to not be able to do my service properly, then the devotee actually says here becomes, what was the word? Mahakrode, like great anger, feels great anger, not at Krishna, but at just the fact that I want to do my service. I'm not here to enjoy for myself. I'm not here to get the fringe benefits. I'm not here to get some happiness or some pleasure. Sometimes sometimes I'd experience devotees, I would call them, they're like little honeybees. They just jump from one kirtan program or festival to another, picking up all the nectar. But then it's like when you say, Prabhu, can you help clean the floor or wash the pots or do something else? It's like no nectar in that, you know what I'm saying? It's like, for me, it's just like kirtan, program. Let's go distribute some books. Nah, it's like just nectar hunters. So I only want the nectar, which means I'm just getting out of it what is bringing me pleasure. Now that's also good. And of course, we need to be nourished. But sometimes it can be that It's just about what I'm getting out of it, out of the relationship, so like that. And that's not the ultimate goal. So we see here that the pure devotees, the unselfish devotees, they are angry when they get interrupted. And there are some examples that are given after this that I won't touch upon. Who's giving class tomorrow? Anyone here? It's usually Hansa Rupa Prabhu, but he's from India? Oh, he's back now. Oh, you only do CC once a week? Oh, I thought it was on Sunday as well. Okay. All right. Okay, so, and the purport, just to break that down a little bit. So let's go back. The first one. As mentioned above, the gopis are the predominated lovers, and Sri Krishna is the predominator, or the beloved. So, yeah, again, the gopis, and of course, Srila Prabhupada explained, all of us are more in the feminine. We are the predominated, and Krishna, he is the predominator. And the love of the predominated nourishes the love of the predominator. So the more that we try to give our love to Krishna, the more that Krishna is actually nourished. Although Krishna doesn't need anything to be nourished. He's already perfect and complete. Om Purnamadi Purnamidam. And the gopis have no desire for selfish enjoyment. They just simply want to please Krishna. Their feeling of happiness was indirect, for it was dependent on the pleasure of Krishna. So what does that mean? Their happiness wasn't coming from what they were getting for themselves. Their happiness was coming because Krishna was being pleased. So all of this is leading to helping us understand this principle of selflessness. And causeless love of Godhead is always so. So actually, love of God has a cause. What is the cause of love of God? We say it's causeless, but it certainly has a cause. What is the cause of love of God? Well, God is the cause of love of God, right? Because God is the cause of everything. He's the cause of all causes. He's Sarvakarana Karna. So when we say love of Godhead is causeless, it doesn't actually mean it doesn't have a cause. Because it does have a cause, because God is the cause of everything. But what it means is there is no cause that we have created in order to get it. Because Krishna can give it whenever he likes, to whomever he likes, however he likes. It's not, as Satchidananda Maharaj explains so nicely, and when he gives his lecture, talk about the 4 gates to entering into the pure holy name, and he says the first gate is the body, and you can do things to get through the first gate, sit properly, as Prabhupada says. Second gate is the mind. We can focus the mind on the holy name. And the third gate is the heart. We focus the heart. We can do all of that. But he says the fourth gate, the final gate to unlock the holy name, where you see Radha and Krishna personally standing before you, that door is locked from the inside. You don't have any key to get in there. And he says, and all you can do is sit outside the gate chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Please open the door. But Radha and Krishna are inside, and they will open the door when they darn well please. I've been chanting out here for 2 months. I've been chanting out here for 10 years. I've been chanting for 50 years, 60 years I've been chanting. When are you going to open that door? Whenever we like. Or maybe they already opened the door and you didn't notice because you were dozing off while you were chanting. Or you were inattentive. Krishna opened the door. Where's my devotee? Oh, he's sleeping. Let me close the door again. Like that. So we have to see. So causeless love of Godhead. Such pure love is possible only when the predominated is made happy by the happiness of the predominator. So again, it comes back to this susukam kartam avyam. The devotional service actually should be joyfully performed. We should be happy. When we're performing. Krishna Kripa Prabhu is a personification of joyfully performing devotional service. He's always happy and blissful, dancing in ecstasy and kirtan. And then such unadulterated love is exemplified when the lover deprecates her happiness. Interesting how the purport specifically goes, the lover deprecates her happiness and service that hinders her from discharging it. So as we just discussed, that this is exemplified when one is actually not interested in feeling that bliss or that nectar and reciprocation. That's not what I'm here for. That's not why I'm here. What I'm here for is simply to serve and please Krishna. So like that. So, selfless surrender. Still have a few minutes. Everyone okay so far? I see, okay. All right, everyone's still awake. All right. So, selfless. What does selfless mean? There's the obvious answer. Yes, Hadai, Gosai. Perfect, yes, that's what I put. But it's not that we think less of ourselves, but we think of ourselves less, right?
You always hear this. I like it. Some Vaishnavas actually think less of themselves, or think of themselves like they think less of it. Like I'm worse than worm in stool. If I say my name, I'm more sinful than Jai Nitai. If you even hear my name, you go to hell.
No, yeah, I mean, it's a good point, yeah. So is it, I've heard many different debates going back and forth on this topic. And sometimes I think the challenge is that some devotees, I was present once when one devotee said, "No, Maharaj, I'm just, your fallen, useless servant." And the Guru Maharaj, he said, "I'm not interested in having a falling, useless servant. Why don't you become useful in service and do something?" And then he said, he was present when something similar happened with Prabhupada, and Prabhupada said, "Become useful in service." So of course we may deprecate ourselves so much that actually we don't do anything. "Oh, I'm just, a useless bumble, bumbling around, don't do nothing, I can't do it, But actually, so we should of course understand that, what is it? Utsahan nishchaya daryat, We have to have enthusiasm in devotional service, and we also have to have confidence. But that confidence is that Krishna can help me. So we understand that, yes, I am lower than a worm in stool. But actually, look, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami said he's lower than a worm in stool, but what did he do? How old was he when he was writing Chaitanya Charitamrita? 90 years old, and he's writing Chaitanya Charitamrita. I mean, so he was probably not really like lower than the worm and stool, but actually his internal mood and feeling was like that. But yeah. And surrender. What does surrender mean? Selfless surrender. 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 Hands up. Yes.
We put what we're going to do in the decision of another. We try to do it without someone else wants, not knowing what I want. I surrender.
Okay. Say that again. Release control. Very nice. I like that. Both these things. So we put. You said that we relinquish to control ourselves, and we give that up to the dictates or mandates of someone else. So we surrender to what someone else says, and you're saying you release control. Anyone else would like to venture a guess? Did I miss anyone raising their hand? Huh? All right, you're happy with the answers? So surrender. Sanskrit word for surrender is generally known as Sharanagati, or surrender. And it's derived from Sanskrit words meaning sharanam, which means refuge, protection, or shelter, and agati, meaning to go to or to come to. So sharanagati means that we go to shelter. We go to some place where we can take shelter, which is a really interesting concept because it means that surrender is something that we have to do. It's not something that is forced upon us, and it can't be forced upon you. Of course, someone might say, if I hold up a gun and tell you to surrender, then you'll surrender. So yeah, okay. But it's not really coming from the heart. And that's the idea. So this thing, I remember hearing once that like surrender is like someone has an umbrella and it's pouring down with rain, and it's like, do you come out of the rain and go under the umbrella, or do you remain out in the rain? Do you take shelter? And this is really such a conscious effort and endeavor that we make. And of course, selfless, one of the words that comes up from selfless is seva. Seva is a Sanskrit term meaning selfless and meaningful service. So when we're selfless, we give to others. We do seva. So like that. And then these acts are carried out for the benefits of someone else. So the whole thing is all about, it's really not about me, although it all depends a little bit on me. So like Prabhupada said, we have to act like it depends on me, knowing that it depends on Krishna. So surrender means that I consciously have to place my consciousness, myself, at the lotus feet of Krishna. Now, the question is, what does that really look like? So this is very long. I don't know if I'll get to read it all, but this is from Nectar of Devotion, chapter 11. And the chapter is entitled, Surrendering Everything to the Lord. Regarding complete self-surrender, there is a nice description in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam, where the Lord says, a person who has completely surrendered unto me and has completely given up all other activities is protected by me personally, both in this life and in the next. In other words, I wish to help him become more and more advanced in spiritual life. So obviously when we surrender to Krishna, we make advancement. It is also confirmed in the Gita, as soon as a person surrenders unto the lotus feet of Krishna, Sharanam, Krishna takes charge of him and gives him a guarantee of protection. Ma shuchaha, have no fear from all sinful reactions. He also instructs from within, so that the devotee may very quickly make advancement towards spiritual perfection. Again, the process for making spiritual advancement seems to be very much dependent on surrender, our ability to surrender. This self-surrender is called Atmanivedana. According to different authorities, self is differently defined. So this is really important because Srila Prabhupada here starts to define what is selfless. Sometimes self is considered to refer to the spirit self or soul, and self is sometimes considered to refer to the mind or to the body. Full self-surrender therefore means not only surrendering oneself as a spirit soul, but also surrendering one's body and mind to the service of the Lord. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has sung a nice song in this connection. While offering himself as a fully surrendered soul, he says, "My mind, my household affairs, my body, whatever is in my possession, my dear Lord, I offer it to you for your service. Now you can do with me as you like. You are the supreme possessor of everything. So if you like, you can kill me. Or if you like, you can give me protection. All authority belongs to you. I have nothing to claim as my own." So it's a little bit contradictory because the beginning of that prayer from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, I offer you my house, my duties, I offer you so many things, my body, whatever. But then in the end he says, actually none of it's mine anyway. So this idea of surrendering or giving up is like, in one sense, a misnomer because we're all already eternal servants of Krishna. But the problem is that we have simply forgotten, and we're not acting in accordance with that understanding. So again, this whole process of surrender is very much a conscious choice, and each day we can practice surrender. When is the best time to practice surrender? Here in the Bhagavatam class. Definitely. And after. All the time. Okay. Yeah. I thought you were going to say it Mangalarti. No. Just, yeah, every moment. It has to be a conscious effort. But a very good place to start trying to surrender our consciousness is when we're chanting our rounds. It's a very good place to really consciously start to give ourselves. It's like we get that whatever hour and a half, 2 hours of genuine communion with Krishna. And to really give over our mind and our body and our soul, ourselves, to Krishna. But at every moment there's a constant practice of surrender. And what does surrender look like specifically? Following the order of the spiritual master? Yes, very good. Say again? Trusting? Okay, beautiful. That's really nice. Yes, we have to also have trust. We have to have faith that Krishna is there to protect us, to capture us. Yeah, actually surrender will... Sorry, Krishna Kripa Prabhu. It's just now coming. Yeah. So it's kind of a rhetorical question, just like the question before it. Because what does it look like? Actually, it will be different for everyone. Just like in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was basically trying to surrender. But what he was hearing from Krishna when he was saying, you know, you should become a sannyasi, is like, okay, I get to go to the forest. And his idea of surrender is that I give up this fight. I give up this battle. I walk away and I don't participate. That's surrender. But Krishna was saying, no, surrender is that you stay here and you fight. So we may have this tendency to think surrender means I get to walk away from something and give something up. But it's kind of like surrender may mean that you have to use whatever that is in Krishna's service. And that may be the good, it may be the bad, it may be the ugly, it may be whatever it is. Krishna may use whatever he likes in his service. He may use the thing that humiliates us the most in his service and helps us to understand that whatever you want, Krishna, whatever it is that brings you pleasure, that's what is going to be the best for me. And that's not an easy thing to accept. So what is Sharanagati? Sarvadharma parityajya mamekam sharanam braja aham tam sarve papebhyo mokshayishami ma shuchaha. Of course we know this. And then we have anukulasya sankalpa patikulasya varjanam rashishyati vishwaso go Tritve varanam tata atma nikshepa karpanye sadvida sharanagati. So this is the verse that was quoted by Hare Pran Prabhu, and the translation, this is from Madhya Lila 22:100, and also quoted Hari Bhakti Vilas and other places. And in the purport in Bhagavad Gita 1866, Prabhupada quotes this verse. So what does this mean? It means that we have to accept things that are favorable to the performance of devotional service. Embracing actions, thoughts, and situations that are conducive to pure devotion. These are the 6 symptoms or processes of surrender, of Sharanagati. That we have to accept that which is favorable. We have to reject that which is not favorable. Actively avoiding conduct and things that are adverse to spiritual progress. Conviction of divine protection. We have to be convinced that Krishna will protect me. Krishna will protect me. That means maintaining unwavering faith that the Lord will surely protect the devotee, and specifically, he will protect me. We have to accept that the Lord is our maintainer and our guardian, that he is always looking after us. Acknowledging that I am entirely dependent on the divine for maintenance and protection. Entirely dependent on Krishna. I have to fully surrender. Full surrender, not just partial. Like there's this idea that sometimes we say 1 for Krishna, 1 for me, 2 for Krishna, 4 for me, 3 for Krishna, 12 for me, and like that. And then Krishna's happily accepting whatever we offer to him because that's his nature. He'll happily accept whatever we offer. But he's leaning over our shoulder, looking behind our back to see how much we're actually holding on to. And he's waiting. When will you offer that also? When will you let go of that? When will you just give it all? Now we have to understand Sharanagati is not something that is going to happen overnight. For most of us, it is a process, as Prabhupada says, it is a gradual process, but is a certain one. And then finally, all of the above have to be done with a mood of humility, cultivating a sense of lowliness and freedom from ego. So there you go, we get to think less of ourselves. Like that. So we also have to be humble. But humility also doesn't always look the way that we may think it does. Because Prabhupada said that Arjuna was the most humble because he went out on the battlefield and he killed everybody. And we might think, well, that doesn't sound very humble. I thought humble meant lay down on the floor and let everybody walk all over you. And Arjuna may have been thinking humility also meant that. But because he followed the order of Krishna, because he wanted to do one thing and he accepted that I'm not actually the controller. Krishna, you're the controller. You instruct me. Let me accept your order. That is humility. So like that. So again, it is a conscious choice of practicing surrender. It's active work and progress daily. Every moment is an effort of trying to surrender and placing our consciousness at the lotus feet of the Lord. What is it that you want? We have to enter into the mood of becoming a servant, and this is surrender. And I'll conclude with this, the result of surrender, as we're heading up to Ram Navami next week on Thursday. So there's this wonderful verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishna tamara haya yade bale ekebar maya bande hoite Krishna tada kare par. One is immediately freed from the clutches of Maya. Who wants to be freed from the clutches of Maya? Okay, only a few people raise their hand. Fine, the rest of you stay in the clutches of Maya. If he seriously and sincerely says, my dear Lord, please repeat after me, my dear Lord, although I have forgotten you for so many long years in this material world, today I am surrendering unto you. I am your sincere and serious servant. Please engage me in your service. That's it. It's all over. We can all go home now. We can do whatever we like, right? Okay. I had something else to do. Can you? There you go. Sorry, some of them black or white out. Got it? Okay. So, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains this verse has come from somewhere else. He says it comes from this verse. Sakradeva prapano yas tavasmiti cha yachate abhayam sarvadatasmai dadam yetad vratam mama. And this is the next verse in the Madhya Lila 22:34. And this is, that's right, this is Lord Ram's statement. He says, it is my vow that if one only once seriously surrenders unto me, saying, please repeat, my dear Lord, from this day I am yours, and prays to me for courage, I shall immediately award courage to that person, and he will always remain safe from that time on. So this is a conversation between Lord Ram and who? Nai. Vibhishan, exactly. And Vibhishan is who? The brother of Ravana. And Vibhishan, he kind of trades sides at the end. He's tried so many times to convince Ravan to like just give Sita back and give it up. But he won't listen. So even though he's a demon, he goes to surrender to Lord Ram. And there's a whole debate because Sugriva and the other monkeys, many of them are saying, don't trust him because he's a demon. He's a Rakshasa. He's going to cheat us. He's going to kill us. He's just trying to infiltrate. But Hanuman says, no, you should trust him. He's come. He has a sincere mood. And in the end, Lord Ram makes his decision, and this is the decision he makes. That no, if he's come here to surrender, I have to accept his surrender. I want to accept his surrender. And he says, even if Ravan comes here and surrenders, I will accept him and forgive him, basically. So like that. Okay, so actually, we're kind of out of time. So I talk too much, as I'm repeatedly told. So if anyone has one reflection or question, or if we want to just finish here and go and take prasad, then yes, Mother. Hare Krishna.
Such a thorough coverage of the concept of surrender. So there's this wonderful statement by Srila Prabhupada's Siksha Guru, His Holiness Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, which he says, surrender, Saranagati, is like getting dressed. You put your clothes on, but you don't stop there. You don't stop there. You have something to do, you have a mission, you have a purpose. And that purpose, which needs to be achieved beyond Saranagati, is Krishna Prem. So you're digging the canal, that's the surrender, and then you fill it with the water of Krishna Prem.
Yeah, surrender has a purpose, has a goal. Surrender is the... Krishna Prem is the prayojana, and surrender is the abhideya. It's the process. Perfect. Thank you. Okay. It's not on, I don't think.
So when love turns into lust, is because it starts becoming coming more from the ego, right? Like for own pleasure. So because it's coming from the ego, it takes you closer to the illusion, to the Maya, and it pulls you away from Krishna because you decide to benefit your own pleasure and stay here. And I guess like that energy moves, instead of moving to the heart and to up, it moves to the lower chakras, or to connects you to the material world, I guess.
Beautiful. Perfectly explained. What is your name?
Iris.
Iris. Beautiful. That was very nicely explained. Yes. It's described that the nature of the living entity is anandamayo bhyasat, which means that we are pleasure-seeking. At the core of what we are and who we are as spiritual beings, we look for pleasure. That's why you hear all this happiness, all this love, all this sweetness. It's all Krishna. It's all coming from Krishna, and Krishna's purest devotees, and this pure spirit soul is just blissful. So we're looking for bliss, but when we come into the material world, we become covered by avidya, which means ignorance. And in that covering, we forget how to find real bliss, which is to become reconnected with Krishna. This is yoga, union. And in that ignorance, we start looking anywhere and everywhere for something that will give us pleasure. And that's why people walk up and down the high streets looking in the shop windows, trying to see what they can buy to make them happy. Now everyone, even during class, I was noticing like at least 6 phones are going on. People are scrolling, but people do it. They just, what do they call it now? Doom scrolling or something. We just looking, and every time it's like I myself fall into the trap of just scrolling. And then I was, the other day I was thinking, why do I keep doing this? And I realized that hope the next scroll, there will be something else, something more. And I was remembering that that's the way it used to be before I got into Krishna consciousness, We used to go and drink different drinks, hoping it was going to give us that thing, or you go with different persons to hope they'll give you that, everyone's just looking for that connection, ultimately. So in ignorance, we're just totally absorbed in looking for what's going to bring me pleasure, forgetting that what will bring me the highest pleasure is when I connect with Krishna. Thank you, Iris. Beautiful. And a nice conclusion. Hare Krishna, Grantaraj, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Jai Nitai Gauda Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.